And welcome to the offseason here with the Cincinnati Reds franchise mode. Now, again, 2027 just wasn't our year. Now, we won the National League, we won the pennant, we get to the World Series, and then games 3 through 5, all 3 of them walk-off home run victories for the Angels. 2 of them by Trout, 1 by Zach Neto. Again, it just wasn't our year, I'll just be honest with you. Now, we go to look at retirements. Jacob deGrom retires, not a Hall of Famer. He retires as a member of the Seattle Mariners, which is odd. But real quickly, we will go through our team and just talk about some individual players. Hunter Green needs to snap back into that Cy Young form next year. The 5 ERA is not going to cut it next year. A guy who I do like the production out of is Nick Lodolo. He had a really good 2027. Michael Kopech out of the bullpen was very serviceable. I don't want to make him a starting pitcher, though. Jose Urquidy, again, he's our guy. I would say he's our best pitcher at that 87 overall, ERA at 2.99. Martin Valenzuela, I don't know if he's ever going to make the bullpen. Brian Wu, I would actually like to keep around. We have a lot of control time on the guy, at least 3 more years. And he pitched well in the playoffs. Andrew Abbott is a guy who I don't know if he ever improves in terms of his attributes and as an overall player. I don't know, we might move on. Rhett Lauder, Drew Thorpe, I just don't know what to do with the guys. We have a lot of good starting pitching. Luis Cortez too. I just don't know what to do with some of these guys. We'll see as we move on here in the offseason. Garrett Crochet, really good bounce back year. Didn't pitch the amount of innings he should, but he did well. Gregory Soto, an off year, but still not horrible. Mason Miller had his best year as a professional baseball player, 2.39 ERA. Matt Strom's in a weird spot because he's 36, but again, he's a guy who will stay in the organization. And then watch out for a guy in Darren Hernandez. He's a 69 overall, but he's young. He could make his way up the prospect rank pretty quickly. Felix Bautista is our closer. Not really the year we wanted out of him, but again, still, I would think the closer for the future. John Crowley's a guy who we picked in the draft. He's already an 80 overall. The seed potential hurts, but an 80 overall is nuts. And then, of course, we have DeAndre Wilder as well. Now, our catching position is weird. I think we're going to move on from both Langeliers and Stevenson. Now, Tyler Stevenson is a free agent. I think we will offer him in the offseason, but I really can't see the guy being our starting catcher, and I really don't want to pay him that type of money. So we'll see what he is asking for. And at first base, we just need a new first baseman. Again, this Xavier Isaac, Joey Gallo, Josh Bell rotation is just not going to cut it for me. Isaac's a guy who we're going to keep around, but if I'm being honest, I don't think I really see a future for both Gallo and Bell on this team. Matt McLain, again, he's the second baseman of the future, 28 years old. He's hitting his prime. We will definitely keep McLain around. The third base position, obviously, is manned by Spencer Steer. We'll get to that, or we'll get to Steer in a minute. Ellie De La Cruz, he's all right. I would just like him to hit for better average. The home run numbers are there. The RBI numbers are there. I want him to get to at least 280 next season. We'll see what the 3-time All-Star can do. Bryce Harper is our best bet. I understand he's 35. He's 79 home runs away from 500. He will likely hit that as a member of the Cincinnati Reds. Spencer Steer, I mean, ridiculous numbers the last 3 years. Batted 300 in back-to-back years. We will take it. TJ Friedel, very solid. Again, he's a 270, 280 guy every single season. He does what he needs to do in the 2 spot. I have given him the comparisons of Adam Eden a lot. I think it is a good comp in all fairness. Lloyd Hutchinson, another high prospect for us. We'll see if he can make his way to the Major League squad eventually. Kyle Tucker, I'm going to look at trading. I understand he had a better season in 2027. 3 years left in that contract we gave him a couple years ago. I think we can move on, and hopefully he still has some trade value. It's just his performance in the postseason hasn't been very good in back-to-back years, and Will Benson obviously is a very good DH for us as well. He can always play the outfield too if we need him. Scott Service retired. We're going to go after Bob Melvin as our new manager. It is what it is. Shane McClanahan's going to break the market. $390 million over 10 years for the Philadelphia Phillies. They have all that money to throw around now that we took the Harper contract. McClanahan is now the ace over in Philadelphia. This is the free agency pool. I don't love it, if I'm being honest. There's not many names I really see that jump off the list. I mean, Adley Rutschman is one, but I just can't break the bank for that guy right now. I wish, but I mean, that's a crazy contract. The former Oregon State player is commanding. Quickly, we will look at Kyle Tucker trades. Him himself, I get this is before guys go through arbitration or whatnot, so not everyone's available in trade, but Tucker himself isn't really going to give the best trade value. That's a problem. We will reevaluate later. Here's a guy I do want, though. Mackenzie Gore. Now, I understand it's a little bit of a Nationals bias here, but he is a better version of Andrew Abbott, and I really think he can help. So we are going to put in an offer for him. Alek Manoah will get signed by the Marlins. The Twins go out and get their franchise catcher, Adley Rutschman. Makes a lot of sense for them. David Peterson will get traded for Jose Barrios. He will move on over to the Toronto Blue Jays up north. As we keep on moving here in this offseason, again, no Mackenzie Gore signing just yet. It's just us and the Nationals that have been offering him a deal so far. Again, we can look at the trade market, but it's really not going to give the best deals right now. Tucker, again, the market will be ever changing, but really look at the names. There's no one I really want. If I'm going to straight up go for an outfielder, Aaron Judge is really untouchable. I looked at even like a Bobby Witt just to match contracts with another team, right? Obviously, we can add in prospects if we need to. I'm not going to go out and get Mike Trout, who just beat us in the World Series. I looked at Julio. Julio Rodriguez was a guy I wanted, but again, just doesn't make sense. Acuna too, but really there's not much we can do in trading for Ronald Acuna Jr. It just doesn't look like the Braves are going to really budge on him, even if we do add in some prospects or some highly touted guys, even like Cortez, Valenzuela, Lauder, Thorpe. It really just doesn't look like these teams are budging, just because, again, the value on Tucker isn't really all that high right now. And yeah, you do get 3 years of Kyle Tucker, but again, not much going on for him. Mackenzie Gore does sign with the team, 5 years, $97 million. I feel like it's a great trade for us. Mackenzie Gore is going to be a very good guy in our starting rotation. Alexis Diaz, our former closer, will go on to pitch for the Texas Rangers. And there you have it. Mackenzie Gore does enter the rotation. He will join the likes of Jose Urquidy, Hunter Green, Brian Wu, and Nick Lodolo. Again, unfortunately, Andrew Abbott is the odd man looking in. Yeah, we'll look for a trade for him eventually. This is the market on Tyler Stevenson. Now, I'm going to offer this. It's 29 mil, 5 years. I'm not going to give him that length on the contract, but in terms of money, I'm willing to spend it on Stevenson, who can be a very good backup catcher for us. Now, I don't think he's the starter, but he could be a guy we fall back on if we aren't able to go out and get the guy that we want necessarily at the catching position. I'm just saying. That's something we can look at. Yandy Diaz is a guy I like too. We don't have a first baseman right now. I think Diaz, even though he is that contact hitting first baseman, I think can do wonders for us. A guy that we saw in the World Series a couple seasons ago. I'm going to offer him a deal. I would think he would respond and at least think about the offer, right? I mean, I'd hope he'd give us a call back and not just respond over text. Stevenson, though, again, 5.8 a year, I'll give him that. 11.6 over 2, we'll see if he takes it or not. Pete Alonso gets traded again. He's going to go from the Diamondbacks to the Astros. Josh Hader is coming back for the Snakes in that deal. Jordan Hicks will sign with the Miami Marlins. 4.26 ERA for him as a starting pitcher last season. 11-11 record. Johan Oviedo going to sign with the Houston Astros. 3.93 ERA last season for him. 30 years old, getting that 5-year deal. Good for him. The Padres are offering us a deal. I'm not taking these guys for Garrett Crochet. Tavares going to go to the San Francisco Giants. He gets a pretty big deal from San Francisco. I don't really think the market was huge on him. And Shane Bieber will sign with the Seattle Mariners. They get their big arm to lead their rotation. As Geraldo Perdomo gets a huge deal by the Baltimore Orioles. Edwin Diaz going to get traded from the Pirates over to the Atlanta Braves. Again, a team that we just saw in the playoffs. Maybe we will run into Diaz at some point over the next season. Tyler Stevenson, though, takes a very similar deal and just goes to the Marlins. Again, for him, career-wise, I'd take this too if I were him. Automatic starting job in Miami, most likely. Good for him. I wish him nothing but the best. Yandy Diaz will sign with us, though. 2 years, $15.6 million. Willie Adames gets traded from the Braves over to the Twins. Coming back for the Braves is Kyle Wright. That's interesting. They're going to get him back. Logan Gilbert signs with the Houston Astros. 3.16 ERA last season. They are really loading up with their starting pitching. Luis Robert will sign with the Chicago Cubs. Again, they have really fallen off, and Robert, I don't think, is going to make the biggest impact for them. Nolan Arenado, 1 year, $6.79 million over with the Boston Red Sox. Brendan Donovan signs with the Cubs as well, so they're kind of just getting the scraps, at least it feels like, here in free agency. As we move on, we do need a backup catcher. I still haven't gotten a starter, obviously, but Mitch Garver will fill that backup role. I mean, we had Yan Gomes a couple seasons ago being the backup. He actually did a really good job being the Twins starter last season, so he's going to be the backup for us now in Cincinnati. Here are the deals we're looking to make, guys. Andrew Abbott, Kyle Tucker, Shea Langeliers. Those are the 3 guys we need to move. And now, bundling them all in an offer really isn't the best thing because, again, it's hard for teams to get around the money to take all of them. But this is just kind of what the market is like for these 3 guys. And these 3 guys have been starters for us over the last couple seasons when we won a World Series. All these 3 guys were here. And yeah, it's just not the best. O'Neal Cruz is interesting. Him and Henry Davis. Paul Skeens is an offer. Jordan Walker's on the table as well. I don't love, though, trading within the division, if I'm being honest. Like, I would get Paul Skeens, but I don't really want to give the Pirates nothing, so we'll hold off on that. This is what I am interested in doing. Kyle Tucker, Andrew Abbott, Luis Cortez for Matt Olson, and not a catcher, but Brusdar Graterol. Hey, he throws very hard. He's been good for them. He was a guy that was with the Dodgers. He was with the Braves last season. We saw him a little bit in the playoffs. I'm willing to do this. Tucker, Abbott, and Cortez. Again, Abbott and Cortez have no use on this team anymore. So basically, we're doing Tucker for Olson and Graterol. I will take that every day of the week. We do get our starting first baseman. Now you're thinking, what do we do with Yandy Diaz? Simple, you move him to the DH. Again, I don't love having a contact hitting DH guy, but it's manageable, so we're gonna do it. And here's your starting catcher. I hate the Mets, but here's Francisco Alvarez. This guy can ball. He's got a lot of pop against right-handed pitching. He's a very good fielder. I think he's a better version of Shea Langoliers in this game. Martin Valenzuela, Shea Langoliers, Drew Thorpe. We've always talked about how we have an influx of starting pitching talent who we just can't use. Valenzuela and Thorpe are gone. Add on, of course, Shea Langoliers, and we get Francisco Alvarez from the New York Mets. This is what the team looks like now. Rhett Lauder, I think, eventually will make his way towards the bullpen. At some point, he's the one guy who did stay. And this is kind of what the lineup's going to look like. I just need to make a little bit of changes, but De La Cruz, Friedel, Harper, Olson, Benson, Steer, Diaz, Alvarez, McLean. I think this team's kind of nuts. I think actually, yeah, we're going to bump Diaz up a little bit. We'll go probably Olson, Diaz, Benson, Steer, Alvarez. Yeah, and then against lefts, we'll just switch this up. We'll go McLean, Friedel, Harper, probably Olson, then Steer, then Diaz, De La Cruz, Alvarez, Benson. I think that's what we go with. I think this team's better. Again, we couldn't make any monumental changes in this offseason, but adding a guy like Matt Olson who brings a lot of power to the plate and who can be a consistent bat for us at first, unlike, again, Gallo and Isaac and even Bell were last season. Hey, Josh Bell's still on the team as a bench bat, but again, having a consistent guy is really going to help us, and that's what Matt Olson's going to bring to the team. So, folks, thank y'all for watching the offseason here in 2027, 2028, and episode number 82 of the Cincinnati Reds franchise mode here on MLB The Show 24. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. And make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Folks, thank you for watching, and Mamba forever.